So today we'll continue with our reflections on the Fatima apparitions. Now, the first thing to consider is that we're entering into a new era, an era of peace. So that means that we look at things objectively. We see that there's a lot of these terrorist acts occurring in the world, and these go back to these power elites. They're mostly Gentiles from the Western civilization that have basically usurped power illegitimately, taken power away from the nations, and tried to consolidate it through use of deception and accumulation of great wealth by a few individuals. So we're looking at a complete change in the way the world is structured. We're going to have to replace these elites completely. Now, it's been said that Israel was responsible for the attacks on 9/11. Well, that may well be true, but we also must consider that before that occurred, there were great crimes, particularly war crimes, that were committed by Gentiles in the West, part of the Christian civilization, actually. So we see that because God endowed mankind, each person has free will, and they can either choose to comply with God's law, or they can choose to act as though they are the ones that are in control. But it always leads to tragedy. We see that the people that have made those bad choices come to a bad end, always, you see. So it's our responsibility now as Christians to work to bring to justice any of these people who have committed terrible crimes. Most of them, we may not even know their names. Like, for instance, we talk about the Israelis and the Zionists in America who have committed crimes on September 11th in 2001, where those, but see, this was planned for years before that, you see. All this was planned so that it could work out to make it look like that these acts were done by people that didn't have anything to do with the crimes, and that the real planners, the architects, wanted to make it look like they did it so that they could have a reason to go to war against them. It's very simple if we look at it logically. Now, but this is all deception, because now what they're doing is they're putting up these straw men as basically using them for disinformation, for to create this controlled opposition so that no one will be able to oppose them. They think that by putting up these straw men who act as though that they are speaking in favor of truth, they're trying to neutralize God's power. You see, God works within human communities, within each person, so that when we find out who's really responsible, then it's that we have to go and take these people and bring them to court of justice so that they can be tried, and the ones that are actually responsible, the guilty parties who are the real culprits, will have to suffer the consequences for what they did. Otherwise, they just keep going on until they die, and then, God will take care of them. So that's really what it comes down to. And so we want to work to make sure that justice has the last word in all of this, and that the ones that are the real crooks and criminals, the ones that are causing these so-called terrorist events, these planned actions to change the way people think, basically, to influence public opinion, because they know that they're no good. These people, they're psychopaths or sociopaths. All they know is to kill and destroy. That's all they know about. So they should not be leading any governments at all, regardless of whether it's in the state of Israel or it's in the United States of America. We can't let these people have control of our government. The so-called shadow government has no power at all. We just have to simply trust God, which we've got. Unfortunately, America has backed away from that, but we've got to get back to that now here in the United States. Trust God and to do what's necessary to bring about justice. Thank you and goodbye.